How you doing? How you doing, Colleen?
I'm well, Liam. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Boy, you can't sit still. Here, let's do that. You cannot sit still with that opening track. And it's maybe just a little bit too long because then you really get into the groove. So eventually we'll shorten it.
Yeah.
When it becomes more important. So yeah, excellent. Well, hey, you know what's a really good feeling?
What?
When you find something wrong and then you bring it to people's attention and it gets fixed. And
that's the best feeling.
It's such a good feeling. So we're going to talk a bit about that today, because today we've got a new update that we've been waiting for as part of 3900.91 in the Ultra LMS landscape. So
awesome.
All right. So yeah, let's dive in. Let's just jump in and save some of the chatter for later, and see how we get on with this episode. So for folks tuning in, welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's Ultra LMS 3900.91 here on Freshforward. We're talking about the release that is scheduled for May 2024. So that's just in a couple days. Before we jump in, just we thought this is probably worth mentioning so we don't get harassed because we lied, because we're not lying. These are, as far as we know, this is the stuff that's coming to us in the next couple days. But these features are subject to change according to the development progress at Anthology. Totally not within our control. So some of the features that we talk about might get pushed back, and that's happened before, where they say, yep, we just noticed something that we want to address before we put it out to the masses. So
actually, I'm going to say something about that, Liam, while you've got it up there. I always thought that it got addressed in the next release, but then being a part of the teaching and learning admin office hours with my other colleagues that do the same job across the country and, well, I guess everywhere globally, they do release them as one-offs. They come out ad hoc all the time. So when I join one week, they'll say, oh yeah, yesterday we just sent a quick update and we fixed this. So if you should see that you see something in the release notes that does not get delivered, it doesn't mean it's going to be another full month, another cycle before it comes. It could actually pop up into our production environment anytime within that month.
Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. So whether it is everything we expect should be there with this release, but if it doesn't come right away, it could be just a little bit later then. Cool.
That's right.
Okay, then let's jump in. So last month, when we did 3900.89, these were the top 5 we had. We had flexible grading. Things got moved around, and I did notice, I would say, it's a lot easier to navigate. It's harder to accidentally override your students' grades. It's easier, like it's more intuitive to actually be putting grades in the right spot. So that's good. Feedback being visible, obviously that's a good one. Question feedback, we're going to come back to this one because they've expanded on that, where you can add question feedback when you're grading by student. So this week we can build on that. Duplicating questions was released last time, and that's going to come up again today. And then last month's top pick was the AI, the content picker for context picker for automatic content creation. So that was last time. Okay, so but this time we're talking again about 3900.91, and this is the May release. So let's jump in. I think we've got our top 5 that we're going to start. We didn't do a countdown little video, but maybe another time. Here we go. So our first one here is the supporting multiple performance criteria in release conditions. So this has been a big one that's come up where students have completed this assessment or they've done that assessment. So if you give students choice between doing different types of assignments before you move on, this allows for students to kind of do assessment A or assessment B, and then still be able to move on, but not move on without having done one of them. And I did just take a quick peek at this. So I'm going to drag this onto the screen here. You can see I'm in my course here, and to create, to do this, just grab whichever assessment you're looking for. Let's say this color test, we'll edit it and edit it. There it goes. And we've got just on the side here in this gear icon, I'm going to just make this maybe full screen. Let's do, there you go. So here, sorry, not in there. Change this to the release conditions. And this is only with performance-based stuff. So if we come down here and click performance, we can choose a gradable item and say, let's say the students have to do task 1 and get at least 80% on it. Or if you wanted to give them a choice of having done the other task, you can click add an additional performance criteria here and say, I want to choose this one, navigating the digital landscape. And for that one, it's marked out of points instead of percentage. So let's say same thing. They need to get 80% on this one or 80% on this one. And we click save. And that's all it takes. As long as students meet one of those 2 criteria, then they are they're able to proceed to this next test as well.
Yep.
So that's a cool one, I think. It should be maybe mentioned that it is not both of them. Right now it's they need to meet criteria A or criteria B. It's not that they have to do A and B. But if I look into my crystal ball, I bet you in the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to be adding, oh, and now you have the and this or this.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion.
They do tend to build that way. They start with one, right? One standard. And then as they get feedback, and it comes, and there's also those lots of entries in the idea exchange where they start with the lowest development and work their way up, right? Like buying your car, working up your models, getting to the higher level. It's always exciting to see what comes after that. Kind of like AI when they started, releasing that.
And that's such a good point too, because AI, like it started with, oh, we're going to add images, I think was the first one. And oh, now you can do discussion boards. And now you can do assignments. Now you can, like everything just kind of compounded. Yeah, so, yeah, great. Okay. So that's number 5. Moving on, our pick number 4 is flexible grading, improved gradebook navigation. So this one is a small one, but I think it makes sense. It actually, I think, makes sense for a lot of folks who are used to or struggle to find where things are. So let me just jump back into that view and let's take a peek. Because I think this one's going to be a lot easier to show than to describe. But when we go into gradebook, and so I'm in the test environment. That's why I'm able to see all of these new things. If I go into gradebook, this is the change, is instead of it having the little button up here that has the 3 lines and then the little, we would call it a waffle icon. And if you were in the list view, you could see grades and students. But if you were in the other one, you could see gradable items. Now it's just all 3 of them are all sitting here side by side by side. So it's way easier to navigate back and forth in there. So not a lots of stuff to describe, but I do think that that's just going to simplify some of that navigation. For sure. And also, I should point out that it will remember where you were. So if you always like to go into this view, this is where it's going. It's just going to remember where you left last time. So
it's like your power seat setting.
What's that?
It's like your power seat setting.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's number 4. Okay, number 4. Let's go to number 3.
All right.
All right, adding, okay, so this is what I was hinting at. Last month we released that, or Anthology released, and we were kind of talking about the fact that you can add question feedback. That was new, and it was available when you were grading by student. Now you can add feedback when you are grading by a test question. And this, I think, is way more exciting than when you're doing it by student. And again, I think it's just easier to show it. So I'm going to bring my course back in here and take a peek at it. I'll make this full screen. There we go. When we go into our, let me remember where I want to go to. Let's go to gradable items. And this test here, I've got a fake submission put in. And we'll look at this. So now if you're looking in student view, you can add feedback by the question. That was last month. Now when you go into here looking by question, you have the feedback. And if we are clever, what we'll do is we'll just change this to, because I have one essay question in this 20 question test, I'm just going to change this to needs grading. And there's my essay. So I'll open this up. Here's the question. Tell me what your favorite color is and why. There's the student's answer. And I can write my feedback here and say, that's a great, thoughtful answer. And save. And the beauty of this feature, and now I don't have multiple students to go through, is I could just click over to the next student and I can give feedback based on that same essay question for everybody all at once, without having to do a whole lot of navigation. So there's a nice little twist for assessing. And I think, I know you'll see up here too, that it's got a little speech bubble with a purple icon indicating that there is feedback for that individual question. So really cool. I like that one. And let's just make sure, oh, I didn't grade it as the instructor. So let me just quickly go back and do that. Oh, questions. And here, let's give the student a fantastic job. I'm just going to quickly throw a 9 in there and close it. And that's all done and it's posted. And so if we just go back into the student preview, because I think this is important to show what that's going to show up like for the student. They're going to come in, they're going to see their grade book. There's that thing that we just assessed. So we're going to open this up and they see that thing. And there's that attempt 1. It's got feedback. So let's open this up. Well done. Now I'm embarrassing myself because I can't find it. Oh, it's not available because that assessment is hidden. So that would be where they would be able to access it. But this highlights the change that happened within the last couple releases, where that, I think it was the last one. Feedback is available, or sorry, that feedback of it being well done, that was the overall test's feedback. That's available to the students. Their grade is available to the students, even though the assessment is hidden from the students.
Right.
Okay, let's exit out of here. I'll save that and we'll continue on. Anything else to say about that one?
No.
I think that's a nice little.
Covered it. It is. It's nice. Again, it's that next layer. Nice to see.
Yeah. All right. So that's number 3. Moving on. Item number 2 here is multiple attempts for forms assigned to groups. And this is, so when you are, when you create forms and assign them to groups, typically it was 1 attempt. Now you can have that form submitted multiple times to your students, which is fantastic. And I don't know, I was thinking about use case scenarios, and I did come up with one, which was, and I hope this isn't like nauseating every time I drag this onto the screen.
No, it's fine. I think we've got a little freeze frame going on with Liam at the moment. Just have to wait for him to come back.
Of course. Oh, I'm back. Maybe I'm back now. Here I am. Hi, everybody. Welcome back from that commercial break. I hope you were entertaining everybody in my absence. So when we look at this one, I've created a form here called the weekly group meeting report. And if we look at the settings here, we can assign this form to be multiple attempts. So just come in here, set attempts to 3 or however many, unlimited. And it might be a matter of you're saying, well, you know what, I want my groups to report on their weekly group meetings. And this would be a way that they could speak to that without complicating. There's just having to have like 7 or 14 different examples or versions of the same form. It's one form and they can resubmit it. Yeah. So that's number 4.
Number 2.
Yeah. Or sorry, number 2. Yeah. And I will say, because now I'm in here and I was thinking about creating this, and I want to point out, so I've created a question here that's just got a kind of sliding scale. If I wanted to make a series of these, I can just quickly come in here, duplicate, and there's my second version of the question. And I can drag that and reposition it if I want to. Here, I'll do it again. Sorry, there we go. There. And then I could just keep building that survey, change out the questions, the question text, and then just build a whole form really quickly without having to recreate and design it all. Okay. All right. And then that brings us to our top pick for this release, 3900.91. And that is the weighted calculation improvements.
Mm-hmm.
What a relief it will be when this is out.
Yes.
That's my simple version of this one. So for context, and I'll try not to get too mathy here on everybody, but the way Blackboard's overall grade is calculating currently is mathematically accurate, just not what we would expect. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a little bit of a challenge, especially at this time of the semester, but now it's going to be, and this is what I've been saying to folks that I've been helping, the challenges we've had over the last couple weeks will be gone once this release comes out. So what it's going to look like, and I'll again pull this back on here, is the difference between equally weighted and proportionally weighted assessments. So when you're creating your overall grade, you can see in your the calculation details I have on screen here show, let me make this bigger again for you, that I've got 2 assignments and a test that are contributing. This assignment is worth, so my 2 assignments are worth 70%. My test is worth 30%. This is how we would have traditionally set it up. So I haven't done anything right now, but what's nice is that Anthology has made this very clear when the numbers are not what you would expect. So historically, we would have assumed that 70% means that it is 35 and 35 when you divide it by those 2 assessments. But when we open this up, you'll actually see this one's worth 63.64% and this is worth 6.36% because this one is marked out of 10. This one's marked out of 100. So when you divide that out, it's like, okay, well, this is worth proportionally, that's worth more of that 70%. Mathematically, it's right, but it's not what we would expect at Georgian. So all you need to do, if this is what your gradebook looks like and you see these numbers and you do not like that, just come up to the top and click equally for this new, on this toggle that is appearing with this new release. So click this. And now you can see what it's done is it said, okay, 35% per item. And that's what we would have expected. And that's been the confusion for our institution. So 35% now it's going to be managed out. That also means if you use the drop the lowest score or only keep the highest score, it's going to work now with everything inside. So if you have been pulling this out, trying to make sense out of all of this, now you can just kind of go back to the simple way of doing things. So that's coming up. And while I'm in here, everything that you see on my screen is what I would say should be the default for your gradebook settings, unless you feel strongly otherwise. This would be what most students would expect. So it's calculating based on the points earned, which means it's a running total, which means the students are going to see kind of what they're trending towards based on what they've done so far. Their grades can go up or down based on their performance. So I would use that, change this to percentage, make it visible to students, and set it to equal. Okay. If you've done all of those things, that's probably everything that you need to do for most courses. But public service announcement, if you have questions about your gradebook, if you want us to look at it, join us during a drop-in or send us an email and ask us to take a quick peek, and we can go through that for you. So that's the gradebook, and I really think that this is going to simplify how we've been working through our grading, and just kind of address some confusion for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Anything to add to that?
Just the big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Right. Considering the amount of work that's gone in the last 2 months, the volume of emails and just the support that's been provided, I think that this is going to be, and again, just to add that next layer of trust with our faculty, right? Just no doubts. We know that it was, as you said, it was not a huge issue, just something that needed to be addressed. But anytime something like that happens, right, it's a point of gaining the trust of our users to say, yeah, we've got you. This is coming, and it's all going to get set right. And Anthology's got our back.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were very quick. I know it feels on our end, I think it can feel like that took a long time, but from this being identified as a significant issue, we were within a week, we had an audience with the development team and the UI team, and this got escalated very quickly. And for us to have this even in May, because they were saying that the June was the earliest. So they were hoping, I think, to get it in April, but there was some testing that needed to happen. But yeah, I think that this one really got handled well. So
I agree.
All right. So that is our top pick. And I guess that, let me just do this. That is, yeah, that's our 3900.91. And I don't know, any last words we want to close on before we wrap up? We are just over 20 minutes. Sorry, Colleen, we couldn't keep it under 20 again.
I do like the 20-minute mark, but you know, when it's got like that last slide is worth adding a couple of minutes on for sure. I'm sure people will forgive us. No, I think we're going into May. So we've done our semester wrap up from the winter semester. So hopefully for our faculty who are watching, have a great summer semester. Yeah. We are here to support you. Hey, drop-in sessions. Let's pop that up there.
Oh, yes. Look at these fancy toys we're playing with now. Oh boy.
Going forward, our new schedule: Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 1:30 and Thursdays and Fridays at 10:30. And then you can find that link in your Blackboard calendar. Yeah. Yeah. And so drop-ins, startup. Don't forget, Focus on Teaching Conference also is coming up. That is Thursday and Friday of this week. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that'll probably be like tomorrow by the time this video is released. So make sure that you join us for that. We'll throw the link for the registration in the description and see if that's helping people. But if you saw popping up on the screen the prompts like, hey, comment, let us know what you think. Like the video, subscribe, help us build the channel, get other people to know about it. And we hope that this has been helpful. Nothing else to say there, Colleen? Nothing, but thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Have a great day, you guys. Take care.
Bye.